I'm gonna bring my brother up, brother Gerald Hamid Muhammad Bey from South Carolina. He's our general counselor for the state. Here because we trying to establish our counseling, we trying to get our counseling in order. And that's the main thing, and we need to wrap our minds around what it is as a people that we do in order to free ourselves. I'm going to say this long.
Peace and blessings, family.
Peace and blessings.
Hotep. Habaragani. All right, as the brother said. First, let me apologize to everyone for the delay. We'll try to be more proficient in the future. Okay, as the brother said, right, my name is Gerald Hamid Muhammad Bey, affectionately known to all my friends and associates as Brother Hamid. I want to first acknowledge the great God Allah, give all praise and honors to our prophet, give honors to our prophet, Prophet Noble Ali, who is the prophet, the man that looks like you and me, sent for our protection. Very, very important and key fact. Something that many of us are not aware of, we never heard of. I like to give honors to all of my Moorish family. That's talking about you. That's talking about you. That's who we are. We are Moorish Americans. And we're going to talk about that briefly. I like to acknowledge all of my family, my Moorish kin, that have assisted me in helping me put this program together. We hope that y'all will leave here with something that you never had before, and that something that you never had before will bring you to our study session. Because we have to make some changes, people. Our people are suffering, and there's a major reason why they are suffering. Okay, so, as many of you said, I'd like to apologize. The guest speaker was unable to make it. He had an emergency. We apologize for that. And we're going to fill in to the best of our ability. Okay? Now, the title, Love and Heritage, and the Transition from Mental Slavery to Freedom and Self-Mastery. I chose that title because it deals with the change. See, first, notice what it says. It talks about love. It talks about love. And I know everybody in this room has some degree of understanding about love. So I just wanted to briefly, see, I'm a man of words. And I believe that having a good comprehension and understanding of words, or what we call linguistics, is very, very important to how we perceive and understand things in everyday life. So what I did was, I had basically two definitions. I went and looked up the meaning for the word love, and I would say it like this, we'll say from a European perspective. And then I had a definition of love from a Moorish perspective. Now when I say that word Moorish, I'm speaking in reference, to the way that our ancestors would say what love was. Okay? So, it says, okay, now the European says that love is an intense feeling, deep affection, a great interest and pleasure in something. And we know in the scripture, that's 1 Corinthians 13, where it talks about love. Now, I want you to pay close attention to how they define love. The first thing that they said it was what? It's a feeling. It's an impulse, an affection. I want y'all to remember that. A feeling and an affection. Now, I want to give you the definition from a Moorish perspective. Love, according to the Moorish perspective. Sincerity, obedience, dedication, and obligation to the truth. Love is the quest for the truth. And I hope you really understand the difference. See, we're taught that love is maybe something up under the sheets. You know, a feeling, a passion. We get caught up in our feelings and our affections. But see, when you start talking about sincerity, see, sincerity, there's no sincerity without obedience. And there's no obedience without dedication. But how can one be sincere if you don't know the truth? And I use that word truth for a specific reason. Because I know mostly everybody in here is familiar with one of the most famous sayings that we have. What do we say? What is it that will make you free? So wait a minute now. If it's truth that sets me free, shouldn't I love the truth? That makes, does that make a little bit of sense? I think that makes a little bit of sense, don't it? I mean, it's really not complicated. But the whole thing is this, and we're going to get to that too. What is the truth? Not according to what we've been taught, but according to facts. What is the truth? So we're going to the next word, which is heritage. Now, according to them, they say heritage is your birthright, property that is or may be inherited, a special or individual possession, origin of ancestry, race, or nationality. And, you know, they have scientists, you know, like today they have everybody caught up on their heritage. But how many of us really understand what heritage is all about? All right, heritage from a Moorish perspective. The origin of your ancestral descent line. My brother spoke about that. Its history and all of the principles and possessions therein. I want to read that again, because this is very, very important. Your heritage is dealing with something that we should inherit. It's naturally ours as a people. Heritage, the origin of your ancestral descent line, your bloodline, your ancient descendant bloodline. Its history, not according to the European, and please don't mistake me. I by no means am I prejudiced, racially prejudiced, but I love y'all. Y'all are my first preference. See, we have to stop feeling like when we talk like this that we're being racial.
That's right.
Because that's not true.
That's right.
See, we have a right to have race pride.
Yes.
We have that right. And it's time for us to claim that right.
It's wrong.
Stand up for that right. Be faithful to that right. Why? Look at the young ones in here. How long will we allow the deception and the lies to continue because we don't stand up for who we are? Mainly because we don't know who we are. So let me move on. Now we go into mental slavery. According to the European, worse than chattel slavery or the physical chains or psychological weaponry. The inability to think and reason within our own culture and perspective. Generational subjugation in thought, words, and action. This means what? Okay. When they had our ancestors in the chains, what you call chattel slavery, okay? Many of us think that, okay, well, that was the end of that. And this is why this word mental slavery is in here. Because after chattel slavery was ended in 1865, by the 13th Amendment, we have to stop and think. Let me see. For a certain period of time, our ancestors were under the teachings, the coercion, the force, the brutalization of a people and a culture outside of themselves. Now let me see. As a man or a woman thinks in their mind, so they are. So now I have to stop and I have to reflect. How deeply were our ancestors affected by chattel slavery and the things that they were forced to do, the things that they were forced to say, the things that they were forced every day in their lives. And what else? They knew. Now here's the real deep part, people. I really want you to get this. The most powerful weapon, notice it says in here, right? Psychological weaponry. The most powerful weapon that they had was the mother. Because the mother's love and care for her children, what will she do when she's in a situation like that? And she knows, boy, don't you look at master like that. Boy, don't you talk to master like that. Boy, don't you even think like that. So now we're talking about that generational indoctrination. We're talking about a mindset, people, a thought pattern that has been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And I'm just going to throw this other down. We'll get to the next word. This is what I say to people, and please, like I said, I am not attacking anyone. I just, as our Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, he says, if I can get you to thinking, he says, if you can get me to thinking, we will free ourselves. So this is the question, people. We know two things. How many people know the story about Kunta Kinte? Okay, well, Kunta Kinte was a slave during the time of slavery, so the story goes, right? And we know that the most, dominant thing that they did with Kunta Kinte was what? Somebody tell me. Okay, exactly. Now, wait a minute. Why was it so important for them to change our name? In particular, Kunta Kinte. Go ahead, tell me.
It was important because as Kunta Kinte, he knew who he was. He knew his nationality, his heritage, where his people came from, where he belonged, who he was, and there was power in that. And so when they changed him down and told him his name was going to be Toby, he resisted that. He fought that. So they beat him and beat him and beat him until they broke him. So once they broke him, they broke his mindset. They took everything from him, and he became who they told him he he was.
Very good. Y'all, everybody heard what the sister said? See, like she said, his name represented his culture. You know, and when you get a chance, see, we like for our people to do some research. You need to look up that word. Because, see, the European has taken that word and he comes out with the word occult. You know? And as soon as our people hear that, they're like, oh man, I don't have nothing to do with that. But they don't understand that the root of a cult is culture. So what the European is doing, anything that is outside of his culture, he demonizes. That's right. So Kunta Kinte's culture, his name Kunta Kinte, not only did it represent his culture, but it represents his nation, the language he spoke, the clothes that he wore, the things that he ate, the things he didn't eat, everything, right, that made him who he was. So, like the sister said, when they took that away from him, what was left? When you take a man or a woman's nationality, their identity, their language, the foods they eat, the laws that they live by, what's left? There's nothing left. All right, so anyway, we'll move on here, right? Now, okay, mental slavery according to the Moorish perspective. The mindset of a foreign cultural way of life, diametrically opposed to one's nature. You hear that last part, people? Notice what I said now. This means that mental slavery is the mindset of living and thinking and speaking and acting other than according to the nature by which the great God made you. Man-made man, man-made woman. Also, the absence of one's heritage or what they are and who they are, past, present, and future. Basically, they thought it was the end of us as a nation of people, but God is the best of plans. See, when they took that away from us, they thought that was a wrap. That was it. You see what I'm saying? But God is the best of plans. So now, we're going on to what? We come into freedom. This is good. Okay, their interpretation of freedom. The power or right to think, speak, or act without hindrance, interference, restraint, or the absence of subjugation or domination. Now, according to Moorish science, freedom is the state of mind of being one's self, or being what by nature and nature's God created you to be, having the status and jurisdiction that my brother, right, most beautifully mentioned, of freedom according to law. Not freedom according to what you think or what I think is freedom. Because many of us, unfortunately, we think that because, you understand, we can go to Walmart, we can go to McDonald's, that we're free. But I'm here to tell you people, right? Not trying to step on nobody, I'm just trying to give the truth that my prophet brought. That's not freedom. That's what we call an illusion of inclusion. They have us thinking that we are a part of this nation. Thinking, notice that, right? We talked about that earlier. See, this whole thing is very important because we're noticing that everything is starting from where? From the thought. We're back to the basics. As a man or a woman thinketh in their mind, so shall they be. Now we coming down to the crux. I'm going to come back. Self-mastery. Self-mastery, according to the Europeans, is self-control, the ability to control one's own desires or impulses. That's it. Self-mastery, according to Moorish, the knowledge of self, having developed thought processing, where you came from, who made you, what you can do and what you are going to do, to be the divinity that you were created to be, to have the authority and power over the body and the mind. That's a big difference, you know. One's talking about desires and impulses. We're back to the feelings again, right? Another one's talking about just here. We have a saying. I have a saying that I learned in my course, and it says, discipline the body and strengthen the mind makes for a better life divine. So, that's basically dealing with the title. I have some more that I want to present, but I have a few things here, right? I don't know if everybody has this paper. And this is for respectability, right? Because, you know, like I said, we're not here, right, to insult or attack anyone. Alright, I'd like for everybody to have this, right? I want you to do this here. Now notice what it says, right? It says the space inside this circle represents my realm of knowledge. All that I think I know and whatever I think I know is depicted within this circle. I must keep in mind that there is more to know than what is in this circle of my awareness. Does everybody understand what we just said? That's very, very important. Very, very, very important. Because there are going to be some things said, right? I'm not the only speaker, right? There are going to be some things said that, you know how we say, oh, I ain't never heard that before. Well, just because you ain't never heard it before doesn't mean that it's not true, that it doesn't exist. And that's the whole thing about thinking. We have to think. We have to really, 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 really think. And to give you a real classic clue, and I'm going to bring somebody up and then I'll be coming back. This is another thing that I say to my brothers and sisters, because I want us to think. Remember now, when I say I want, I'm not excluding myself. Because I have a past just like we all do. I mean a real, real past. So I'm a living example that when we want to change, when we strive to change, we can change. So I want you to think about this right here. This is 2019, people. Pretty soon it'll be 2020. They are still teaching our children in school that Christopher Columbus discovered America. And they know it's a lie. I want you to really think about that because it's real serious. Because our children are being indoctrinated from the very, very early age on a Europeanized cultural and educational system. So when you think about that, right? What other lies? What other lies are they telling? What other lies do they have us believing? See, once we start thinking, then we say, oh man, the light comes on. Man, that's really, really something. So, I have a little something here. I'm going to read, then I'm going to bring my sister up. And I'm going to come back, I'm going to read this story. Because it's one of my favorite stories. Because it's just so basic and simple. Right, I'm going to bring my sister Diane Carter Bay up. And let her speak to y'all about her experience. Because remember, we're talking about transition. So we want to be able to give you, right, some pictures and real life experiences of some of us and where we come from. But we also want to give you the facts. Okay, now this story is dealing with, let me find it here, I might have lost it. Excuse me. Give me a second. This story is called The Eagle and the Chicken. I love this story. And like the brother said earlier, this is a book by our Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akhenaten Enihuru Tutankhamun X, better known as Elihu Pleasant Day. This is called The Exhuming of a Nation. This is one of our study guides. Okay. So let me get to the point. Page 63. And people, I want you to really pay close attention to this story. Because everything that I just read, as far as definition, that's what this story is. Okay, here we go. A parable for morals, young and old. The eagle and the chicken. During the life of man, there strode a chicken farmer. He strode to the mountaintop above his chicken farm in the valley far below. The farmer was not accustomed to such heights, and without ever reaching the top, he began his fearful journey back down the mountain. And as he turned to his descent, he discovered an eaglet in an unattended nest. The farmer quickly stole the baby eagle. I'm going to read that part again. The farmer quickly stole the baby eagle, concealed it in his pocket, and carried it to his farm in the valley. Time passed with months of strife. One day a stranger, a strong mountain climber, came upon the chicken farm on his way to the mountain. To his amazement, he could hardly believe his eyes. There in the chicken yard amongst hundreds of chickens was a majestic, full-grown eagle. The stranger alerted the farmer of the eagle, sure to prey upon his chicken. But the farmer only laughed and said, "There's no danger there. That's not really an eagle. You only saw chick, my dumb bird." No, warned the stranger, "for I am a mountain climber, and I know the lofty eagles very well. Surely you must take heed." The chicken farmer mockingly went with the stranger to the chicken yard and reached into his pouch and withdrew a handful of corn. With a commanding song of "Here, chick, chick, here, chick, chick," he cast out the corn upon the ground. The chickens and the eagle raced and pecked every kernel of the corn, then gathered around the feet of the farmer in quest for more. Oh, how the farmer laughed as he boasted, "See, I told you, it's a chicken. Okay. The stranger inquired of the farmer, pray, tell me the foundation of your trick against Allah and nature. The farmer, feeling self-assured his work could not be undone, answered the stranger truthfully. First, I captured Chick from his mother's nest. Remember we talked about the mother. High upon the mountain's face, while it was still an eaglet. I raised it with my other chickens. For the remainder of his life, corn and farm food became the only foods he knew. I cropped the feathers of his wings constantly as they grew, so he never learned to fly. He could see birds of prey miles off into the sky and would warn all the chickens to hide with him until the birds of danger flew by. In fact, he guards my chickens better than I ever could, and my chicken business has thus improved greater than ever. Now today, Chick with feathers full grown and a 12-foot wingspan does not know he's an eagle, but thinks he is a chicken. I gave him a chicken mind, and so he is a chicken. The stranger told the farmer, you have served Satan well, for this is sin against Allah, and these crimes against the earth and man. For these wrongs, you will pay, and pay in compound interest. For right now, I must take this eagle back to the mountain high. The stranger uplifted the eagle in both arms and took him to the highest pinnacle of the mountain and instructed him to fly. But the big eagle, unaccustomed to such heights, began to quake with fear and trembled so. I cannot fly. I cannot fly. If you release me, I will surely die. The stranger instructed once again, your home is in the sky. Out yonder there, you cannot die. If you just spread your wings, the air of faith will make you fly. Please take me back to the farm, the eagle begged. Let me scratch the ground for the farmer's food, and I will not complain. The stranger, duty-bound, tossed the eagle out so far out into the air, his fall made him fight in flight until he proclaimed his space. He flew so high above the mountaintop, he gave honor to the stranger from his natural controls of the sky. He soared high, praises to his creator for his attainment to fly. Now, I'm going to come back, right, and give it, but just short and brief, people. This story, in a similitude or symbolism, is the story of us as a people. Remember the farmer, what did he say he did? Didn't he say he stole?
He discovered it.
He said he stole. It's right there, it's right there. We got stolen.
That's right. It's not.
Then the farmer said that he clipped his wings, but the most important statement that the farmer made, he said, I gave the eagle a chicken mind. The slaveholders gave our ancestors slave minds, slave thoughts, slave words, and slave action. They gave us names: Negro, colored, black, African American, Afro American, Pan-Africanist. I mean, man, wow. Why is it that we as a people have all these different names? A Chinese is only known as a Chinese. A Japanese is only known as a Japanese. Right now, if I went outside and went to the next block and I stopped 3 of our people, I would put my life on the line that I would get at least 2 different names. And we want to know why we have a problem becoming unified. Unity means one. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us one free national name, which is called Moorish American. It deals with your blood descent line. Everything. We'll come back and speak on this later. At this point, I hope that everybody got a little something that was said. We have much more to present. We don't want to bore you or beat you up or tie you down. You know what I mean? I'd like to bring up my sister, Sister Diane Carter Bay from the North Carolina Council. Peace and blessings.
Islam. I am Divine Minister Diane Carter Bay from the North Carolina Council. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act 1. I give honors to all of my Moorish family and my Moorish friends who are here, who came out this wonderful, chilly day, but it's still a beautiful day. I give honors to the God men and the God women, the goddesses, who put on this program to help bring this forward, to try to get our people, bring them the truth. And when Brother Muhammad called me and asked me what I give my testimony, and the title of this program is Love, Heritage, and the Transformation from Mental Slavery to Freedom and Self-Mastery. And family, I just want to tell you, this is my experience, and like they say, I give honors to I concur with everything my Moorish kin has said before me, and my Moors who will come after me. But I just want to share with you my experiences. This is me. I can talk about me and my experience. And I'm believing that you're going to get something out of it. I'm going to plant that seed. But I come from a Christian background. Not to beat up no Christians. If you're a Christian here, that's all right. But I was a sister pastor in the church. And I was teaching our people about Jesus. And I love Jesus. I really did, y'all. I would get up there, and my son, he'd stand over there looking at me. And we'd be singing and praising Jesus. And oh man, I could sing, what's that song? Yeah, Jesus, Precious King. Oh, I would get down singing. Because you have to realize here in the West, nobody ever told us, they might have told you, but nobody ever told us anything about Islamism, Islam, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. If you would have said those names to me, it went right over my head because I would not know what you was talking about. I heard about Marcus Garvey. but I never heard anything about no withdrawal. And now I realize, I know why they didn't tell me about no withdrawal. Because they had me thinking that Jesus was the one who came to save me. They had me thinking that Jesus did this man that don't even look like me. He got blonde hair, blue eyes, but he the one died for me. He did everything for me. And lo and behold, as we continue to study and read the Bible, the brother was sitting over there talking to us too. As we began to read the Bible, we started finding contradictions in the Bible. And you know, when you start questioning the Bible, you know a lot of your friends, they ain't gonna hang out with you. You start questioning the Bible. And don't say the Bible contradicts itself. Oh my goodness. You get put out of the community or something. I mean, that's great. What you mean? God don't contradict. God wrote this Bible. Well, it said King James and his boys wrote it. No, y'all, it's funny, but it was sad. It's funny and sad at the same time. Because that's all we knew. That's all we knew. And then when you start questioning it, you were made to feel like something was wrong with you. You know, and so you just, you know, you had to get around certain little friends of yours who thought like you did. Y'all was a little group that you had to get in that little group and talk. You couldn't talk to nobody else about this. Oh my goodness, and don't mention your parents. You might get whips put on you, you know? But anyway, as we continue to read and study and find out that who started studying about the Nicene Council of 325 AD and all that good stuff, what talks about, you know, Jesus coming on the scene and all that stuff. And then we started hearing things about the nationality and sovereignty. And I was looking to find out, what is this thing called nationality? I want my nationality. I want my sovereignty. So we started asking around and looking around, and lo and behold, we went way down to Kelly, and this man, he was going to sell us our nationality. So he was going to sell it, and then something happened to him, and if I call his name, y'all might know, so I'm not calling his name. And way down there, and he was going to sell us our sovereignty and all that stuff, and teach us how to do it and all that stuff. And lo and behold, to make a long story short, I met Pleasant Bay up there in North Carolina. And he started sharing with us that you don't have to buy anything. It's already yours. It's free. You don't have to buy anything. And I started listening to the chairman. They told me to get on the calls and listen. And I started getting on the calls, and I started listening to some of the things that he was teaching. And family, I'm here to tell you that this has been the most beautiful experience that I have had since I've been on this planet. Being in this government is so wonderful. I thought I knew what joy was, but I got so much joy in my heart when I started coming into this government and learning who I really am. Because see, when I was in the church, see, I wasn't even divine. I didn't, and to say that I was a God, even my mind couldn't comprehend that. Now I was a little God, but not me and God is one. No, because you got to remember now, it's planted in me that I'm filthy rags, a sinner born by grace, or you just filthy rags before God. So to say that I'm divine, that's a big step for my little mind to try to accept. But I am a goddess. But anyway, once I start learning in this government who I really was, that I am a God, and that I am a mother now. Even back when I was in Christianity and back when I was in slavery, as they've been talking about today so beautifully, I wasn't a woman then, and I didn't have children then. And I heard them say, you're not a woman. And in my mind, before I got to where I am now, I'm like, what do they mean I'm not a woman? What do they mean I don't have no children? What is them I got then? But I didn't understand nationality. I didn't understand about belonging to the government. And then once I got in here, then I started figuring out what exactly they was meaning. Being up under another man's government, you can't have children. You can't be a husband. You can't be a wife.
That's right.
But being under this Moorish government, you can be a woman, a goddess. You can have children. You can have, and they're not kids. Kids are those. And I have to correct sometimes my family. They are not kids. Kids is an animal, that's a goat. So you don't have no kids. You have children. So you can have children in this government. And you are protected by this government. But family, I stand here to tell you, I have joy. And I speak to you from my heart. Being in this government, when I look back over my life, it was just preparation for me to be here now, today. And that's why I can stand here and tell you, this is a beautiful thing for us to have our government, and our government is coming on the scene. A pure and clean nation, I see right now, a pure and clean nation is being risen. It's coming forth in this darkness. A pure and clean nation is getting ready to come forth. And I tell you, I stand, like I say, I speak to you from in here. And I tell you from my heart, this is a wonderful place. Learn all you can about this government. Get in the government, get on the calls, learn all you can, support these brothers, come to their meetings or whatnot, learn all you can, but this is where your protection is. I tell you, I'm not going anywhere. They have to drag me out, and I know they ain't gonna do this. But they have to drag me. All the way you go get rid of me is to probably come and get me taken on the soul plan. I'm not doing it. But I tell you, this is wonderful. I'm just enjoying myself. Not where I'm still growing. And this is a journey, y'all. This is a journey. You ain't gonna do everything right. This is a learning experience here. But we got love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's what I stand for. And I stand on the pedestal of my heart. And so, to you family, like I say, support these brothers, come and learn about it. John, about ask questions. You got any questions? I'm sure if they can't answer you, I'm sure they'll find out your answer. So that is my testimony. Islam family, and peace and love.
Gratitude, we'd like to thank you for your patience. We're leading up to one of our stellar speakers. At this time, I would like to call Brother Charles Bay. He's coming to, he's going to recite for us. Are you ready? Y'all ready? And if you're ready, you gotta stay ready, right? It's long. Well, anyway, everything that we're talking about, people, right? We're talking about it. See this man right here? How many of you, other than the Moors, raise your hand, know who this is? That's an indictment. This is Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is also mentioned in your Bibles, in the Bible, in the 10th chapter of the book of Revelation. He's known as the seventh angel, who comes with the book in his hand, the scroll of eyes, the seals of eyes of the great God. And he comes, as it says in the chapter, he comes with it wet. He doesn't come with it open. Because remember, if you go and read the story, he was told to eat the book. So the eating means he had to ingest the book into his mind. Timothy Drew, born in North Carolina. Woo, man, that's powerful. Born, as we say, in the state of North Carolina. When it says he's born in the state of North Carolina, it means that he was born in the same condition that our ancestors. But he was special. He was already ordained by the great God of the universe to be who he was meant to be. A salvation for his people. So he had that book and he went over to Egypt. Think about this, people. At the age of 16, right? A so-called melanated boy in a foreign country.
Tell them what year.
Studying under, well, in today's language they say Egyptian. We don't use that. Because Egyptian means those of the burnt faith. I'm not burnt. Are you burnt? I'm not burnt. We say Kemetic. So he studied under the teachers and the scientists, and they recognized who he was. So the final test was, they put him in the pyramid and they blindfolded him. This was the test to authenticate that he was who they already knew he was. And they told him, say, hey man, look, if you be who you be, you're going to come up out of here. But if you ain't, you're going to be part of the dust. So a few days later, Prophet Noble Ali came out between the walls of the space. There's so much more to it. I just don't get